Hi there. Welcome back to my movie review, and this is another John Woo flick, Hard Boiled. What can I say about this movie that was already said? Hard Boiled is John Woo, one of the best movies of all time. It's my #1 favorite Hong Kong movie of all time. I love this movie to death. It's definitely my personal favorite. It's definitely top 10 action films of all time. And definitely John Woo's best film. This is his last movie that he did back in the 90s in China before he went to America, and he did Hard Target a year later. But this is his last film, and this is actually the 5th collaboration between John Woo and Chow Yun-fat, because previously they worked on Better Tomorrow 1, and then in the sequel, A Better Tomorrow 2, and then they worked on The Killer and Once a Thief. This is the 5th collaboration between Chow Yun-fat and John Woo. And I love this movie to death. This is a badass, kick-ass, balls to the walls action movie. To me, this is my favorite Chinese film of all time. Hard Boiled is badass. It's crazy. There's so many guns, explosions. I would say it deserves to be called one of the greatest movies of all time, one of the best action movies in the cinema. It's adrenaline, it's a classic, it's pum-pum. It's only for action junkies, and I'm an action junkie. I love Hard Boiled to death, even the music I love to death, you know. And literally, it's John Woo's best Hong Kong action movie ever made of all time in the cinema. The movie is hardcore action I have ever seen. Hardcore. And it's the best Hong Kong action film for me ever. No one did a Hong Kong action movie like John Woo did. And I miss John Woo. And I'm gonna talk about Hard Boiled because I love to death this movie. It came out in 1992. This is the greatest action movie ever. Just finish it again. I watch it every time, you know. I'm a huge John Woo fan, and my favorite John Woo film is Hard Target. I reviewed Hard Target, you know. It's on my channel, and people does enjoy my video that I did, you know. And so I decided to review Hard Boiled, you know, because I love the movie to death. And Hard Boiled is one of the best action movies of all time. It's right there with Terminator 2, Judgment Day. It's also Die Hard in a Hospital. You know, this is a classic to me, you know. And you have Chow Yun-fat with toothpick in mouth, a gun in his hand. That's all the plot you need to know. In fact, this is the best, pure action, epic ever filmed. You know, this is an epic action movie ever, you know. This is my film, my personal favorite Hong Kong action film of all time. I enjoy watching movies like that. I enjoy action films like that, you know. Those are my movies. I enjoy, those are kind of my movies because I watch those movies. I watch them. You know, I watched this movie back in 2016. It was hard to get this on Blu-ray. Yes, this is the Blu-ray from Dragon Dynasty, but this is the Blu-ray. You know, this is in my top 10 favorite action films of all time. You know, love this film, Hard Boiled. Love Hard Boiled to death. Love Hard Boiled. My favorite action film. This is actually a police action thriller. You know, John Woo was actually criticized by fans that he only makes gangster movies, so he decided to glamorize the police. You know, he made this movie to dedicate the police, you know, the work police. And in this movie, this guy, Philip Chan from Bloodsport, he was a real police officer. He was a real chief. He was a real police chief, and he even plays Superintendent Peng in this movie. And he even Philip Chan said that this is the real police work. Why is this movie so epic? Why is from Americans this Chinese movie so badass? Because it's realistic. The action is done for real, you know. Everything's done for real. The action, the shotguns, the guns are used for real, you know. and give the guy a gun and he's Superman. Give him two and he's God. You know, that's one of the best lines that you're gonna hear from Superintendent Pan to Chow Yun-fat, because Chow Yun-fat plays Inspector Tequila Yoon. And by the way, I know there's a video game which came out back in 2007 called Strangehold. I never played the game, but I know that there's a game for Hard Boiled in which is a continuation of this character. Inspector Tequila Yoon. It's continuation of his character, you know. But Hard Boiled, I would say it's a masterpiece. It's one of the best action movies of all time. For the 90s, definitely the best one. You know, my favorite is Hard Target of all time. My favorite is Hard Target. You know, my second favorite is Aliens. Then is Predator 2. Then is Rambo. First of all, Part 2. I love those three movies to death. You know. Then is definitely Demolition Man, Die Hard, Rambo 3, Predator, Broken Arrow. I put in top 10, and definitely this movie, Hard Boiled. You know. And yeah, Hard Boiled is the best film. And even Jackie Chan, who made Police Story, you know, cannot mess with this film, come near to this film. I love Police Story, but I love this film to death. This is my favorite Chinese film, you know. It's not for everyone, because I've seen haters about this film, but I love this film. You know, it's practical. There's guns, there's gun duels, the stunts, the stunt double, the stuntman, they did all for real. You know, and in my opinion, Hard Boiled is John Woo's best Hong Kong action movie from the 90s, and a true masterpiece, along with Hard Target, his first American movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme in the main role. You know, and the story is about Tequila Yoon, played by Chow Yun-fat. He's a cop hell-bent on bringing down the gun smugglers, you know, responsible for his partner's death. He teams up with undercover cop Tony Leung, whose secret identity as tried hitman hangs on a thread. There's the triads smuggling guns, you know, and the cops are looking for the arsenal. And when Tequila Yoon's partner gets gunned down in a gun battle in Tea House, Tequila Yoon he actually teams up with this undercover cop. He works as a hitman, Tony Leung. They call him Alan, and he's undercover. And he teams up to bring down Johnny Wan and his gang of triads who are smuggling and selling weapons on a black market. They have arsenal, and we found out that in the hospital they are making there's Johnny Wan's arsenal, you know, and there's Die Hard in a hospital. And definitely I love the film to death, you know. And I think there's 45 minutes that's actually set in the hospital. I think it's more than, I would definitely say 50 minutes it's in the hospital setting. But everything was crazy, you know. And Hard Boiled is my favorite Hong Kong action movie. You know, one of my favorite action movies of all time, not just only Hong Kong, all action movies, you know. This action movie with twists around, you know, the Hong Kong cinema. Hard Boiled has everything. There's no CGI. The stunts are real. The stuntsmen are crazy. The explosions are bigger, and the plot of the film is amazing. You can get into the story without guessing what's going to happen, what the plot is about. You know, the warehouse scenes. You know, my favorite, the opening scene, we have great shootdown in which is actually in the tea house. You know, Chow Yun-fat has two guns, and there's this guy who uses a Uzi and starts firing the restaurant. And Chow Yun-fat tries to warn the cops and the civilians, watch out, you know, and he slides down and shoots those two bad guys. You know, he slides down the fence and he shoots those two guys, which is epic. There's this guy with the Uzi machine gun, and Chow Yun-fat fires at him with two guns, and he jumps on the table and he kills him. You know, he stabs him, she puts his gun, kills him. You know, and there's my favorite scene is definitely when he's Chow Yun-fat as this guy. Inspector Tequila Yuan, his one-man army, you know, he goes in this arsenal, in which is Uncle Hoy, because Uncle Hoy is actually a competition to Johnny Wong, and Johnny Wong hits Uncle Hoy's arsenal, the warehouse, and Chow Yun-fat jumps when Tony when Alan goes and shoots everyone with gun, with Uzi, with automatic weapon. He shoots all the Uncle Hoy's boys. He kills all of his men, and Chow Yun-fat throws those smoke bombs. He throws them, and then he bungee jumps from the rope, just like Stallone did in Demolition Man. Which I love Demolition Man. He bungee jumps and swings with a rope and starts firing with automatic weapon and kills all the bad guys. There are 30 bad guys, and he puts all of the bullets and slugs in them. He shoots 30 bad guys, and he lands, and this guy, which I love, Mad Dog is favorite character of mine. This guy who plays Mad Dog uses an Uzi and starts firing on Chow Yun-fat. Philip Chang Fung Kwang Chun Feng. I would rather call him Kwang Chun Feng as Mad Dog. He was so great. I love his character in this movie. And to me, it was crazy because it was all realistic. The battle, the gun battles were really dangerous. And then you have in the shooting the arsenal, and these guys with a motorcycle, which they were later used in Hard Target, they showed up and kills everyone. They start shooting everyone. And when Chow Yun-fat's character, Inspector Tequila Yun, jumps, bungee jumps with a rope and starts firing, everyone lands on the ground, and Mad Dog grabs the Uzi, starts firing him, and then Tequila Yun grabs a shotgun. He grabs a shotgun, he loads it and blows to pieces a car. And Johnny Wong wants to kill him, but Alan says, no, you escape. So he gives him a gun, and Alan has 2 guns, and Chow Yun-fat blows a bad guy to pieces. Yes, he kills a bad guy to pieces. And Alan Wong jumps with 2 guns, and he starts firing at him, but he hits only the window glass from the car. And Chow Yun-fat uses all his gun, and his shotgun, and kills him and hits one of the bad guys. And he keeps shooting on everyone. And Mad Dog uses Uzi automatic weapon and starts he uses machine gun Uzi and starts shooting at Chow Yun-fat. And Chow Yun-fat grabs a car, and Mad Dog starts firing. And that's my favorite scene. Or there are actually motorcycles in which Chow Yun-fat, jumps on a motorcycle. A motorcycle drives. Chow Yun-fat with shotgun jumps and blows the motorcycle to pieces. A biker motorcycle jumps like this, and Chow Yun-fat is aiming and fire and explodes. You see explosion of motorcycle, just like in Hard Target, in which Van Damme grabs that gas and throws it and shoots with a shotgun, and you see explosion, and whole motorcycle throws out of the window. And this movie is different, but it explodes. They are. See here, you see this that I'm talking about. Chow Yun-fat jumps, he jumps and shoots the motorcycle. That's my favorite scene. He shoots those motorcycles. That's really dangerous stunt. That is for real. All the actors are believable. Everyone from the actors are believable. Everyone. And I'm sorry I'm yelling because I'm so excited, because I just finished this movie and I love this movie. Incredible to that. This how you do action movies nowadays. They don't do action movies. It's rated there. It's 2 hours 8 minutes, and I love this movie to that. The stunts are real, the explosions are bigger, the plot of the film is amazing. You can get in the story without guessing what's going to happen, what the plot is about, And not only that, there's so many lines, so many action in it. I love this movie, To me, it's John Woo's masterpiece, his best film. And I know people are going more for A Better Tomorrow, or I think the sequel is better, A Better Tomorrow, the first one, or The Killer, or Once a Thief. But I will go, or A Bullet in the Head. But I will go for this film. This is my film, Hard Boiled. It has to be reviewed because I love this movie to death. And when I started and I reviewed Hard Target, I said I'm gonna review someday Hard Boiled, and now I'm gonna review it because I love this movie to death. And the scene in which in a warehouse after Mad Dog fires a machine gun at Chow Yun-fat, Chow Yun-fat grabs a grenade, and he throws it and explodes, and actually. The explosion was for real, and you can see Mad Dog's character actually being hurt because that was for real. That wasn't fake. It was for real. The fight, the gun battle in the arsenal was for real. That's my favorite scene. I love that arsenal. I love the trailer, even the music. I love. So Chow Yun-fat in the smoke, in the smoke with the bomb smoke, he goes to see whoever is alive, and Tony Leon shows up, and they both aim each other with the guns. That's great. They both aim each other with guns. But when Chow Yun-fat fires, his gun is empty. So Tony Leung does not shoot him. He lets him alive. He does not shoot him. And in this here, it says, the action sequences are among the greatest ever filmed. Hold on your seats, and I agree. The action sequences are among the greatest ever filmed, which I agree, Here says more exciting than A Dozen Tigers. I disagree with that. More exciting than A Good Day to Die Hard, definitely. But they're actually one of the best action films that are filmed, seriously, even James Roche for Netflix says they're actually great sequences, great, And when you have, and we know more about the characters, that the Chow Yun-fat, Inspector Tequila Yuen, is not only that he's a badass, that he's a hard-boiled cop, but he's also a musician. He's playing on a jazz, on the saxophone, he's playing music, and he says every time any of my guys dies, I play music for them. He's a musician too, not just cop. And he lives in a jazz bar. And when they start to make the film, Chow Yun-fat recommended to have a teacher. So his mentor was John Woo. We can see John Woo himself in this film. He was his mentor. And Chow Yun-fat was always in the jazz bar. And when his best friend died, he was sad about it. And Tony Leung was different. He was undercover cop as Alan. He was undercover cop. And he lived in the boat just like Sonny Crockett did in Miami Vice. It reminds me of Miami Vice. Just in Miami Vice, it's more about drugs. This movie isn't about drugs, drug smuggling. It's actually about weapon smuggling. A triad started smuggling weapons in Hong Kong, and Chow Yun-fat's character got assigned to on this arsenal case. And Tony Leung is undercover cop and no one knows, and he lives on the boat, on the yacht. And there's a scene in which you can see Chow Yun-fat drives a Harley Davidson. It kind of looks like a trademark to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I'm pretty sure that John Woo saw Terminator 2 Judgment Day, in which which Chow Yun-fat's character is driving a motorcycle, Harley Davidson, which I love that. He doesn't drive a car. Alan drives a red car. And I love the set and the views they did on Hong Kong, with the city, Hong Kong. I miss those kind of movies, I love the settings about it, And this is how it looks like. Chow Yun-fat with toothpick and the gun. That's what you need in the film. And this guy with shotguns shows up on the yacht and starts firing on Alan, because Alan betrayed them. He killed Uncle Hoy, his own boss. They fired at him, and Chow Yun-fat grabs a gun from the window and fires in the air, hits one of the bad guys, goes after the bad guys, fires, kills one of them. Tony Leung shoots one of the bad guys and kills them. and Chow Yun-fat jumps, and this guy with shotgun shoots twice, and he misses him. Chow Yun-fat's character, there's a stunt double, jumps, and he fires him he lies on the floor, and he fires him in the back. Then he jumps in the water, and Alan shoots him because he says, "Damn you, bring the cops," and shoots him. And I think then they go to hospital, and hospital was, I think, 48 minutes, the sequence, or I think was more than 50 minutes in the hospital. I'm not sure. I only checked on my timer that was 1 hour 30 minutes when the action started in the hospital. And the explosions were real. Everything was for real, everything was for real. That was everything for real. And in the hospital, I think it was 40 minutes, is a Die Hard in a hospital. Hospital siege, they wanted to do the Die Hard. And during the battle, during the fight scenes, you can hear a Predator music. Yes, there's a Predator music in the film. And the action, I love when those two guys go in the hospital and shoot everyone, the tons so crazy stunts in the film. And those bad guys, the criminals are firing with the shotguns, and they're actually, everyone gets a treatment, the civilians die, paramedics die, the cops are dying, the criminals are dying, the hostages are dying, everyone gets the treatment, and they have so big holes in it. They're so rated, they're so bloody, there's so big holes in it. And the criminals are taken out of the hospital, the siege, and the cops shows up, and you see guys with a bazooka with rocket launcher, which they fire and blows their cars to pieces, and the SWAT team are saving the babies. And there's a great battle sequence in the hospital. There's so many great scenes. And when two thugs are holding hostages everywhere, there's Teresa Moe, which I forgot to mention her, and Superintendent Peng, and the rest, two cops, and other hostages, patients in the hospital, and two thugs are holding them hostages, and Alan, dressed as a cop, shows up with Chow Yun-fat's character being a hostage, and he pushes him, and you see that Chow Yun-fat grabs the gun, he slides down, he reloads, and bang, he shoots one of the bad, he hits two bad guys. Or when Alan and Tequila are jumping and shooting with a silencer everyone on the bed, that is badass, Alan accidentally shoots one of the cops, accidentally, and you can see his face, that his remorse, that he did not mean to shoot it, he has remorse, and Chow Yun-fat, Tequila tells him, "No, you didn't. Bullshit. You didn't shoot him. You did not shoot him. Even though he did shoot him, it was accidental. But he needed him." And they go in the battle scenes. There's even cops dressed as patients and shoot the bad guys. It is so great in the film. The battles to me are great. I watch this film back to back every time. With my friend I watch it because the real explosion, everything is practical. Stuntsmen are dangerous. And Tequila has a shotgun, she shoots everyone. Then they save babies, and even the bad guys, the thugs, are shooting at them, And they're shooting at them, but they're saving babies. And Chow Yun-fat has put something in baby's ear and shoots the bad guys. And then grabs, because everything, whole hospital, whole building explosion. And that was for real done. And there was so many technical work. Technician, they put bombs, but Chow Yun-fat was unhappy with that, with those bombs, so with those explosions, so he decided it has to be more bigger, and then he pulled the trigger, and the whole hospital was exploding. They explode, they blew up whole building. Just like in Demolition Man, they blew up whole building. Now you know why I love Demolition Man to death. They blew up whole building, whole hospital in this film. They building whole hospital, they blew up. And Chow Yun-fat was running to the hallways, He was running to the hallways. That was for real. He almost escaped. He almost get alive out. This is a fake baby. It wasn't a real baby, but he almost make it. He almost get being killed. That is all for real. The guns are for real. The weapons, everything was for real, This is just for real done, real stunt work. And even Philip Chan himself said that was a real police work, and he was a chief, he was police captain or police chief, or how you said it. But yeah, he was a real, police officer, a real cop, and he was even said that it is a real stunt work. There is a real police work. This is actually an action police thriller. And it's only dedicated to the police, which I love. I love the good guys more than gangsters. And that's my favorite film of all time, It's definitely my favorite Chinese movie, Hong Kong movie. My favorite action film, it always was, And it's a classic action movie. And the stuntmen are so real and dangerous. There is a battle between Tony Leung and Mad Dog. What is the character? Kwok Chun Feng, I think is this in Blu-ray? I'm wondering. No, he's not right in Chun Kyu. Anyway, he plays Kwok Chun Feng, he plays Mad Dog, and Alan and Mad Dog, they have both, each other has a gun, and there's a battle between those two guys, and they both jump, or Mad Dog grabs M16 with a rocket launcher, fires off on Inspector Tequila Yun and Mad Dog, and Alan. With a rocket launcher, he has M16, just like in Predator in the original, and he fires at them, Or Alan and Mad Dog are shooting each other. That's great scene. That was later used in Hard Target, in which Van Damme had two guns, while Pig Van Cleef had one gun. And they both shoot each other, and I think that John Woo wanted to do two guns, but I know what happened. I think he did not know this is gonna be so epic if those guys duel each other. But yes, you have a duel scene in which Mad Dog and Alan are shooting each other, and then they're all the patients, there, and they both put the guns away because they're unarmed civilians, patients, and they both letting go. Mad Dog is so decent, I love Mad Dog. I love him. He's a badass and he's a decent character. They don't make decent characters. Even though he's a bad guy, I did not thought that he was a bad guy at all. I thought he was decent. He let him go. But then Johnny Wong shows up with the machine gun, with Uzi, starts fighting everyone and kills everyone, all the patients. And Mad Dog says, "What the fuck, you killed them?" And he shoots him in the weapon. He blows his weapon away and say, "Why the fuck you shoot them? You have to kill them." And says Johnny Wong says, "I kill anyone that stands to me. Don't you fucking question me!" And he shoots him. Mad Dog shoots him, but he lasts bullets, and Johnny Wong shoots and kills him. And Mad Dog dies. I wish that Mad Dog wouldn't died in the film, but he dies. And definitely great performance by Philip Chung Fung Kwok. Or Kwok Chun Feng says on IMDb, but Philip Chung Fung Kwok was great as Mad Dog. I saw interviews many times how they did the scenes for Hard Boiled, And I love when Chow Yun-fat grabs that wire and jumps out the window. That was a stunt double, but it was for real done. The explosion, Chow Yun-fat saves himself. Almost he make it. It was a fake baby, but almost he make it, and there's even a baby Pete on his pants standing in front of fire, And I did hear some complaints because Chow Yun-fat's character does not reload guns. But I think they not pay attention. Yes, in his handguns he does not reload them, but when he did in the Arsenal warehouse, he did reload his shotgun. He wanna reload. I think he wanna reload the shotgun in the hospital. You know, he did. And there's a scene in which I mentioned Hard Target. You know, there's a scene in which Teresa Chang. I think was Teresa Mo. Yes, Teresa Chang. She grabs a gun. One of the bad guys punches her and says, "You bitch!" And she shots his ass. You know, bang, bang, bang. He shots his ass. And that was later in Hard Target, in which one of the bad guys says to Yancy Butler, "You fucking bitch!" And she shots him, you know, bang, 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 she shots him, and then Uncle Dewey shows up and says, "Give me the gun, look what you done, give me this gun." You know, that's the scene in the Arsenal warehouse in Hard Target, you know, and even motorcycles in this movie, they later put them in Hard Target, you know, and now I know why Hard Target or Hard Boiled are so great, you know. To me, Hard Boiled is a classic masterpiece, one of the best action movies of all time, you know. And by the finale, when Alan goes back and he says that he had to do it because Anthony Wong's character, Johnny Wong, fires explosion, you know, he says the trigger, the bombs, and the explosions explodes, and you see a real fire because the cameras were in the side, in the building, camera shows up. They show those fire. That was all for real, practical done. You know, they don't do movies like this. There's no CGI in this movie at all. And Alan goes back and Chow Yun-fat says, "Bullshit!" And he escapes the fire. And when Superintendent Peng asks him where's Alan, he shows him in there. And then Johnny Wong shows up with Alan, and he challenges Tequila Yuan, but Tequila Yuan grabs Tequila Yuan, punches himself, says, "I'm impotent," and then Alan grabs himself, shoots himself. You know, that scene was used later in Live Free or Die, but shoots himself, and Tequila grabs the gun from Superintendent Peng and shoots the guy in the ass. He shoots Johnny Wong, not in the ass, in the eye. He shoots in the eye. Practical effect, bloody effect. And he shoots him again. He dies. And then they found Alan dead. But in the finale, it turns out that Alan did not die. He survived, which I love that. You know, he survived. And he goes in a yacht because he said that he's going to go to Antarctica because there's light, you know. He wants to find a way end of the tunnel, you know. He wants to find the light in the tunnel because he's done killing, you know. Then every time he kills someone, he makes that crane. He makes that paper crane every time he kills someone. That's why he goes to Danyak, he goes to Antarctica because they have light. He's done with killing. He has done killing people. And why I love this movie, I prefer Hard Boiled over The Killer. I will explain now. I prefer the Hard Boiled or The Killer because Chow Yun-fat survives. In The Killer, he dies. In this movie, he survives. You know, because I root for his character. I root for Inspector Tequila Yun, my favorite character. And there's this guy, Foxy, played by Wei Tung. You know, he was friend of Tequila Yun. He was actually his informant. He was telling him where the Arsenal, the meeting is going to be. You know, he was there. And he was killed by Mad Dog in hospital because Tequila Yun and Alan, they tried to protect him, but Mad Dog finds him and he slit his wrist. And you can see all blood splitting on the glass, you know. And when the two cops are showing, one of the nurses asks what's going on, and they say, "It's nothing, move on," you know. Everything was practical, the action sequences, the motorcycles in which Chow Yun-fat shoots the motorcycles, you know. A motorcycle jumps and he stands there with a shotgun and blows the motorcycle to pieces. That's my favorite scene. Or when he jumps, you know, that's my favorite scene. This is my favorite scene. He jumps, the motorcycle goes from him, the biker goes in front of him, and Chow Yun-fat character jumps like this, you know. You can see he jumps like this, and he shoots him and blows the motorcycle explodes. That's my favorite scene. And I love this actor who played Mr. Hoy. You know, he was Ho San Kwan. That actor also died. And to me, Hard Boiled is a classic. And the actor Ho San Kwan, who played Uncle Hoy, died in 2006, which is really too bad. I think he was also in a Jackie Chan movie, but he died when he played Uncle Hoy. And I love the Arsenal because it's for real. Everything's for real. It's practical. You know, it's so believable, so realistic. I think this is for real. In fact, it's only played, but it's so real. You know, I'm sorry, it's so real. The film is so real, it's so great. The practical effects, the explosions, there were no CGI, there weren't CGI, they were practical, real effects. This is all for real, real done, you know. And even Tequila, when he's running down the hallway, you know, he barely make it. When he said, when he actually threw guns down after the take and asked, "Woo, are you happy now, you motherfucker?" But then asked, did it look okay, you know, because this is all for real. And there's 307 people dies in this movie. Body count 307 people. You know, why is this one of the greatest action films of all time? Why is this masterpiece? You know, I would definitely put this film with Predator 2, Aliens, Hard Target, definitely. You know, Die Hard, I will put this film with Die Hard, Demolition Man. Definitely I will put this film. You know, Broken Arrow, which is so underrated, but this is a classic, you know. I will try to put that scene in which this scene in my video, I'll try to put it, you know, on the cover, but I'll try to put it because I love that scene so much. You know, and I love Tequila and Alan. I love the chemists that they became friends, the first enemies. And I love Tequila when he with the shotgun, he fires at Alan in the Arsenal warehouse, but he hits one of the bad guys with the slugs. You know, when he fires all the guns, all the bullets in the 30 Tycoons. You know, he fires and hits one of the Tycoons. But Alan, he misses Alan and he makes a face, you know, and he's alone. I love that he's one-man army in that Arsenal warehouse. He has no one, because in the tea house scene, they were actually in the tea house scene, you know, there was in the tea house scene, he had backup, you know, there were his police officers that showed up, you know, that they were all backup. And no one was there. In Arsenal, he was one-man army, just like was Sylvester Stallone, Demolition Man, that came out a year later in that building. He was one-man army, and I love army types, you know. But yeah, so I love this movie to death. This is my favorite action film of all time. My favorite John Woo film. Okay, Hard Target's my favorite. This is definitely, I would say, I think this is my second favorite, or no, it's third favorite. I think Broken Arrow, Hard Target, Broken Arrow, my favorite action films. This is my third favorite John Woo film. But it's definitely my favorite Hong Kong action film of all time. It's my top 10 action films of all time, and I love this movie to death. And yeah, I love this movie. It's right there with Die Hard, Predator, and Aliens, and Hard Target. You know, Die Hard, I mentioned it. Rambo, it's there with Rambo. Rambo First War Part 2, definitely. Rambo 3. Definitely, you know, Rambo First War Part 2, Rambo 3 are definitely my top 10. And Hard Boiled is in my top 10. So anyway, that's my movie review on Hard Boiled, John Woo flick, which I love to death. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. I will do next review, but take care now. Bye bye. I'm out.